How do you craft a scene to get your audience to the edge of their seats and keep them there? As filmmakers, how can we build and sustain tension through an entire scene? I'm AJ, a filmmaker and storyteller, and today we're going to learn about this by considering the generator repair scene from the show Silo. Heads up, there will be spoilers for the show, but only for events leading up to and during the third episode of Season 1, Machines. Silo is an adaptation of the book series of the same name by author Hugh Howey. In the post-apocalyptic world of Silo, we quickly learn that everything outside of the eponymous silo is a desolate, barren ruin. We are told that the very air outside is toxic, so the only way to live for even a few minutes beyond the silo is to wear a hazmat-style environment suit. Even then, no one lives long once they go outside. Inside the silo's protection, however, 10,000 people go about their well-ordered lives in their rigidly structured society. The silo is self-sufficient, growing its own food and making or reusing everything that its people need. Electricity comes from the massive steam-powered generator resting at the lowest level of the silo, where the people of Mechanical, including Juliet, the series protagonist, work tirelessly to keep the lights on in the levels above them. If you want tension in a scene, you must first set up what is at stake. What are the possible outcomes of the scene? How will what happens in the scene affect what happens afterwards? Put simply, why does the scene matter? In episode 3, we learn that the generator is getting worse and worse.
Soon the entire thing is going to break, which means we can't make enough juice to power up a single level, let alone the entire silo.
The only way to fix it for certain is to turn it off completely, plunging the silo into total darkness. If they don't, however, the problems will just keep compounding and the generator will break beyond repair. Juliet convinces the mayor to allow them to turn it off for the night, giving Mechanical the chance they need to repair the generator. If they are not able to fix the generator, the lights will never come back on, and the silo will plunge into darkness, lawlessness, and chaos.
If the lights don't come back on.
Hope you have the combination to the gun safe.
Thus, we have our stakes clearly established for the scene ahead. To create tension in a scene, it can also be helpful to set a deadline or a time limit. How long do the characters have to accomplish their goal? A ticking clock, whether literal or metaphorical, can be a great help in ramping up the tension. The classic film High Noon does this masterfully, giving the sheriff only until the train arrives at 12 o'clock to find people willing to help him face down the approaching outlaws. Similarly, Silo sets a time limit for the task of fixing the generator. The generator is powered by steam coming up through a pipe below the silo. The only way to shut the generator down is to close the hatch that allows steam in, but the steam will begin building up behind the hatch. As the steam builds up, it will get hotter and put more and more pressure onto the hatch until the hatch eventually gives way. At most, Mechanical will have 30 minutes to get the generator fixed before the steam blows out the hatch. So, the scene is set, the stakes are laid out, the clock is ticking, and the characters must do the impossible, or face the consequences of failure. These consequences are driven home to the audience by the small moments, both before and throughout the scene, where we see other characters around the silo waiting in the dark, dreading what may come. Meanwhile, down at the base of the silo, they close the hatch and turn the generator off. Juliet and Cooper, her assistant, climb up into the generator to begin repairing it. Cooper's nervous, and he drops a piece of the generator, damaging it even further. Then, the steam pressure begins to build up faster than expected. Juliet manages to buy them a little extra time by climbing into the steam chamber and spraying water on the pressure hatch, but then the chamber itself begins filling up with water, threatening to drown her as the pressure continues to build.
Cooper, get that blade on! It's gonna blow!
The key to maintaining tension in the scene is to keep adding new complications. You have the conflict or problem the characters are trying to resolve. Don't let them resolve it simply. Keep adding new additional problems and issues to make things worse and worse. As the situation grows more dire, the audience will become more and more worried about what will happen.
Expect the worst.
While you are increasing the tension with these story elements, you can also be increasing it with the artistic elements, such as the editing, the music, and those ever-important reaction shots. Cutting faster from shot to shot will increase the intensity of the scene. Music that grows louder and faster gives a feeling of frantic urgency to the scene, and reaction shots of the characters help the audience connect with their fear, worry, and anxiety over what is going to happen. Remember, if you want the audience to connect with your story, use reaction shots to show the human emotions on the actors' faces. So, that's where we'll end our lesson for today. Anticlimactic, I know. But, if you want to find out how the scene resolves, go watch the show. So remember, if you want to build tension in your story, make sure you establish clear stakes up front. Use a time limit or deadline to limit the character's options, and then keep adding complications to the problem to make the situation worse and worse. I'm AJ, and I hope you found this lesson from Silo interesting. What other lessons have you learned about filmmaking and storytelling from this show? What other scenes from TV shows and movies had you most on the edge of your seat? Let me know down in the comments below, and like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Now go out there and create stories.